Welcome to yet another edition of Bits to Billions, the unicorn story. We're in the offices of Groww, a startup founded 6 years ago to make investing easy. In 2016 you quit, 2017 is when you started up Groww, and 2018 I think is when that landmark Flipkart Walmart deal happened. So can you take us through the timing and on hindsight, did you get it right?
So I think timing, you asking timing about Flipkart or timing about Groww?
Timing of your Flipkart exit and your starting up phase of Groww.
See, we did not time our exit from Flipkart based on Flipkart's journey. It was more our personal journey. I think when I joined Flipkart, I was very clear. Okay, I'll work for 2 years, but I kind of extended for 3 years, and all four of us were basically during the time when Flipkart was just taking off. Flipkart converted from retail to Flipkart marketplace, and then a lot of new initiatives, a lot of new folks also joined. So overall, I think for us it was more like our personal timing than Flipkart's timing of Walmart.
And all of you kind of decided at the same time, or you decided and then you went up, Acha Harsh, I'm planning to do this, Neeraj, I'm planning to do this, Ishan, I'm planning to do this.
It was a good journey. So, so I was working with Flipkart. I was looking at Flipkart marketplace. I was one of the first product managers there building. And then there was one day an interview was scheduled, a product manager interview. Jain. Jain is like, there are a lot of Jains, right? But then I see this guy, and Harsh and I know each other for last, since 2005, almost 17 years. So we worked our first jobs together in ATM systems, and we're like, okay, hello. And then he stopped the interview because it was not fair to kind of interview if you know somebody. And when Harsh came in Flipkart, I think you spent 1 year there peacefully before I...
Yeah, before we spoke 1 year, but yeah.
That's a pretty
My
short
plan was to
stint.
spend longer. I had come from US.
But
I thought
he lured you
3 years.
away.
Yeah, so I think the whole environment in Flipkart and the kind of exposure you got there was very entrepreneurial. Right from day-to-day work.
Yeah, I mean Flipkart Mafia is pretty huge,
yeah.
right?
And then Lalit happened one day.
So I asked him that like ये सोच रहे हैं मतलब I'm planning to start up. What do you think? He wanted to stay for 2 years, I think, right? इसने car lease भी ले ली थी and all that. I had to kind of get rid of everything. But then so then he came that way, like let's start something. We started brainstorming. We did not spend too much time before we realized that it's been quite some time we coded, both of us, both product guys. And we need a very and our vision was, as I said, like build a tech company, tech, financial services, very, very high tech leverage, customer focused. And Neeraj was kind of there. I mean, I've seen Neeraj working at Flipkart. His team used to love him, and very, very fast, like sharper than both of us.
He's like a coder at heart, a techie.
So coder is kind of it's a bit understatement. Like he's more like a techie, right? He's
techie at heart.
And I asked him, and within 2 minutes he said, "Yeah, I would be keen." Like he's built a lot of scalable systems at Flipkart, and like if you're reimagining financial services in India, you need somebody who can kind of architect something like that, and he came that way, and 3 of us then started.
Then you all needed a Bansal, so Ishan Bansal.
That's also an interesting story. So what we used to, Flipkart was very, very hectic schedule. We did not get time, and so we did not do anything while we were at Flipkart, by the way. But on Sundays morning, we used to do breakfast together in Indira Nagar. There is a there is a place called Yogistan.
Okay.
I don't know if it still exists, but so we used to do breakfast there and just discussing about markets and everything, knowing each other. And one day I was having lunch with Ishan. Ishan Bansal used to look at corp dev at Flipkart, M&As, and I used to work with him for evaluating opportunities for Flipkart. And I told him, you know, I'm quitting Flipkart, I'm planning to do this. And he was like more excited than me that, you know, this is something that he's pure finance guy, numbers guy, and something that I've been thinking since college days.
Why did you guys decide to go into the world of investing? I mean, it's so far removed. And you're based in Bengaluru. It's not like you're based in Mumbai in the Lal Street, and you know you kind of had that josh. So why did you decide to do this? Was it a problem that you faced which you wanted to solve? Because that's how, you know, a lot of entrepreneurial journeys start. So is that how it started for you as well?
See, first of all, I'll correct. We are not e-commerce folks.
Huh.
He worked in e-commerce for 2 years.
Yeah.
I worked in e-commerce for 3 years. Neeraj is probably the largest, most experienced. Like, our experience is tech, right? So, been building tech products for like, I've been building tech products for like 20 years, 19 years, 18 years.
So
tech is the common thing, right? So it's not, e-commerce was also like, Flipkart is also like a tech company. We like to call it tech company. So the idea was build, so one common framework was it has to be very, very high impact driven. It has to be consumer. We don't understand business. None of us, Ishan has worked in finance plus e-commerce, and all of us, like, we are consumer folks. We don't, it has to have very good economies. It has to be very, very large, right? But most importantly, we should be passionate about it. So I personally started investing 20 years back when I was in college, right? And then read a lot and been investing in public companies and so on. Harsh is passionate about financial. Ishanto is numbers guy. Neeraj is like, give him a problem which is very, very complicated, very, very large scale. He would be excited and all those kinds. So all the dots connected. The last thing was why now? Like, you know, what is the timing question? Both of our startups failed because of wrong timing earlier. And timing was very clear signal because UPI, Aadhaar, Digital India, Geo and demonetization came later, by the way. So that's like 1 year later once we started. But again, it was a very good kind of push to financials internet.
There are a lot of tailwinds. Actually, mutual funds sort of campaigns from the regulators, and then with the YouTube content plus Geo, the access to information, and then the financial infrastructure in the country, all this UPI and everything was all happening around the same time. Conversations were happening. So it seemed like, you know, the penetration which has not happened for so many years. Now there is a readiness. Now if the right product is out there, right, with the right intent, the brand is out there, then there will be takers. There will be people who will shift from a old age, you know, saving money in the bank or in the pillows or whatever in fixed deposits, to one of the products which is making more long-term
Do your
sense.
parents use Groww?
Oh yeah, I do.
They do?
No, my parents don't do. No, my parents are very kind of, my dad is a farmer, like very, very kind of.
Tell us about that. He's a farmer. Where is he based?
So my parents are from a very small village in Madhya Pradesh. And yeah, they are still there.
You're still there? How do they react to your successes? Does it matter to them कि Lalit ने unicorn बनाया?
They are stoic. They like, for them what matters is you create some positive impact in the world. They don't care about money. They still live very, very normal, very simple middle class life. Not even middle class life, and they're happy with it. So if I'm happy, they're happy.
Is your dad still in agriculture?
Yeah. So now he is kind of not so well. So he does not kind of do active.
So he had like his own land or holdings,
so we had our own farming, and then.
Which village is this?
So this is a very small village in Madhya Pradesh. It's near. It's a district called Khargone, and there's a village very small, Lepa. It's called Lepa. LEPA. You probably would not find it on Google Maps.
So how did you end up from there to IIT Bombay?
So I lived with my grandparents. They were in Khargone, it's a district. So I studied with them, and luckily my grandfather put me in a school which was the only English medium. We just started with me. So it was
student
luck.
number 1, literally.
Not 42.
42. Okay.
I was student number 42. It was like a first school, and it kind of clicked. And then as school kept progressing, I also kept progressing till 12th standard. And then somehow I got to know about JEE and gave. And after 12th, I went to IIT Bombay.
That's an amazing journey, Lalit. And
Luck, lot of luck.
and you know, we are at a very interesting time. A lot of fears on what recession will do to Indian markets, and your fortunes are kind of tied to, you know, Indian markets. Like last year was a banner year for apps like yours because of this whole Robinhood investing movement, and now Robinhood itself, you know, is not doing too well. So from that perspective, you know, how will the current recessionary fears affect you in terms of fears of a US recession and its knock-on effects on Indian markets and, you know, the end of the bull run, so to speak? Because we are already seeing that impact on the number of demat accounts being added by various companies.
So we are not building for next month or next year, right? So when you talk about recession, how long does a recession last, let's say, even if there is, and so on. So we started in 2016, by the way. 2015 was a time when we were going through hyper-funding phase. Do you remember? Like,
yeah, and then the next year, a lot of these companies went bust.
And then 2016, everything dried up, and that's when we started. So we were born during those times, and we were very clear, like, we are not building for 2 years or 3 years or 5 years. Like, we want to build an enduring company, and enduring company bana rahe ho. So if you're building that, there will be multiple recessions and multiple bull markets and bear markets, like. But
what impact has it had on you? Because first-time users will get nervous, right? Or आपके 3/4 first-time users है. Like the people who are habitual traders, be it a bull market, bear market,
we are
they
not a
will
trading
kind
company,
of.
right? We are not a trade. We are not a trading app, right? We are building a full-fledged financial services company. इसमें SIPs भी है, and there are
actually
stocks also.
It's a bit you know, counterintuitive that the first time investors will
SIP inflows have been
will react to the industry.
SIP inflows have been strong, I agree.
No, not just SIP. I'm saying it's like, you know,
Narrative.
contrary to the very general thought that the first time investors will get nervous on the volatile market. But what we've observed is that these first time investors have not come out of a FOMO or out of just an ad that they've seen. You know, there's a big bill and they offer that everybody invest will make money in next 1 week. They don't come like that. They spend hours in listening to, you know, listening and watching videos, reading content. They made up the mind on their own. These are all pull based, right? So the resilience and the acceptance of volatility and the way to react on these situations is far more.
Lalit, you know, we spoke to Zerodha's founder, Nitin Kamath, recently, one of your so-called rivals, I don't know, one of the companies you compete with, and he said that India's actual fintech user base is 10 to 15 crore, and you know, there are some other founders who would argue that it is just 7 to 8 crore, which is 75 to 80 million, because beyond, you know, the first 100 million, 200 million per capita income drops in India. So, you know, people will kind of spend for basics rather than to invest or for discretionary things. What do you think is the actual size of India's fintech market? How many users can Groww aspire to have? Right now you have 20 million, but how many can you know, technically aspire to have?
See, Chandra, so the way I look at it is this way. I mean, I don't have any comment, by the way, on what, I mean, a lot of respect for all the good folks out there. But the way, slightly different opinion, but that's how startups are born, right? So look at this, like in India is 1.4 billion people, 300 to 400 million middle class, lower middle class put together. Can they do 100 rupees SIP per month? Do you think they can do 100? So I think if you can just provide them, and to serve them, you don't need to spend a lot of money, right? If you're a tech company, right? Out of those 300 to 400, there are 100 million, 200 million people who can invest more, who can not just invest, buy financial products. See, we are not just an investing company, as I said, right? We are a financial services company. People in India would need financial services, right? it's like the basic need for you, like roti, kapda, makan, financial services के बिना कुछ भी नहीं हो सकता. So there will be multiple billion-dollar companies that will emerge out, and look at HDFC market cap is what, 200 billion, 100. वो भी इंडिया में ही सर्व कर रही है ना, वो यूएस में थोड़ी ना सर्व कर रही है. बजाज फाइनेंस है $60 billion कंपनी. HDFC का हाउसिंग फाइनेंस बैंक है जो अब मर्ज हो जाएगा, दैट इज़ प्रॉब्ली लाइक 80, आई डोंट रिमेंबर द मार्केट कैप, सॉरी आई एम बैड विद नंबर्स, बट द पॉइंट इज इंडियाज फाइनेंशियल सर्विसेज इज 30-40% ऑफ द निफ्टी 50. वो इंडिया को नहीं सर्व कर रहे हैं क्या, वो किसको कर रहे हैं? And like you need to take small share out of it, and you become like a $10 billion, $20 billion company, and eventually $100 billion company when the time will, when India's economy will be, let's say, we are talking about $5 trillion economy in 2028 or 20, I don't remember, again bad with numbers, but we'll become a $100 billion company. So we'll take a share of it and become 100. So, and we are not in hurry. We are not telling कि चलो अगले साल हम will become like a 20. No, we are here for like long.
We're here for the long haul.
So think long term. Believe in India. That's simple. Like फिर बाकी सब numbers करते रहो जो भी discussion करना है. We are fine with just these two facts.
So you're the big bull on India, big India bull.
You can call, but we are humble folks. We believe in India's story. Believe in long term. Like,
okay.
We don't shout. we don't make too much noise. We're just happy with building things. Time आएगा तब आएगा, देखेंगे.
From 9 employees in the first 2 years, how many after 6 years now?
So we are roughly around 1,000 plus now.
And still hiring.
Still hiring.
In an environment where many startups are firing.
Yeah, I think last month we have around 60 people joining us.
And how difficult is it to hire an engineer, Neeraj, or have you always found it slightly easier than your competitors? Because last year it was crazy, the kind of incentives. So all of us used to wish that, you know, we had studied full stack and mean stack and whatever stack.
So one thing which we particularly focused on is building awesome culture. So what any developer or engineer want is basically clarity. If you could provide the clarity, that is the best form of engagement that excites them the most. Rest everything is secondary according to me. And in our interview, we feel that we are able to connect with those engineers, whoever like our vision, our version of, you know, building the most simplest app for the investment. So those people understand, they believe in the idea, they come and join us. Hiring has been easier for us at every step. When we started in 2016, that time also we didn't find any challenge. Now also like we are 400 engineers now. So since then when
and are people constantly trying to poach them? How do you kind of retain them? Do ESOP buybacks help?
Yes, companies are going to the level where they create banner, write their name and say we are waiting for you, and post it on social media. For example, they'll write your name and they say we are waiting for you. Yes, it has happened. So, and not just engineering, all the teams that we have built, people.
But I think what Neeraj was saying earlier, the culture actually helps retain also. It's not only about hiring.
And by culture, it's a product-driven culture or an entrepreneurial culture.
Ownership-driven culture in some ways, right?
Culture.
So, a lot of people get to do things in Groww which they might do in 10 years at a different place. They are able to write a code which actually goes out to the customer and they are actually get feedback on that. So a lot of those things excite people. I have done something which actually is seen by millions of people. So you won't get to do those kind of things in a larger company. So that helps retain people from a larger companies easily.
Is it hard for all 4 co-founders, 4 of you, to stay connected when, you know, the organization has scaled to 1,000, 1,200? Do you guys take out time to do that every week, or how do you do it?
So actually this problem, I think we thought that this is a problem first of all, and primarily coming from COVID actually. Less from the size, because I think we are not as large as
you can still shout out across the floor and Lalit.
So it's very easy to kind of talk to each other. The problem comes because of COVID. We were working from home for almost 2 years. We recently kind of started coming to office, and that was the time when we were kind of continuously in the meetings, and having a time for us, 4 of us to sit together, or you can't even shout out to anyone in between, right? So it's very difficult. So that time what we did was we carved out like 3-4 hours in a week where we will not have meetings and we can connect on a call and talk to each other.
This is just the 4 of you.
This is just 4 of us. So
And I
that
think
helped in some ways.
Does this happen in person now instead of Zoom, this catch up?
So it's still there on calendar. Now it's not compulsory in some ways. People end up scheduling meetings on that time as well, but we are able to still, now that problem is not there. Now we come to office very frequently.
Lalit and Harsh, it's been quite a journey in the last 6 years. But what next? Because now you want to position Groww not just as an investing app, but as a company that will provide a range of financial services, almost like a conglomerate of sorts. I think you also have neobanking ambitions. I think we wrote about Groww Pay a while ago. So can you take us through some of these plans? What's your vision for Groww?
See, so Chandra, when we started, we had this idea that financial services in itself, like internet has created so much impact in the world. Can we create an internet financial services company out of India? That was the broad statement that we started with. And idea was we'll keep launching one product at a time. And the story keeps emerging. So like there are a lot of things in plan, like be it credit, be it payments, be it neo-banking, of course everything in the purview of regulations. Like we don't like to kind of get into any gray zone, right? We have stayed everything in the regulated space. So whatever, like wherever internet can play a big role in enabling access to people in India, and regulations allow us to do that, we will do
That's
do
a very
that.
broad kind of
Groww is coming out to be, Groww is actually, so vision is to kind of build that.
But neobanking, you've already started taking steps, right? I think you work with Federal, you partnered with Federal Bank.
So a lot of experiments going on in the company today. And
You have a team, like how you said you have different teams.
we have a bunch of like
Multiple
so it's like startups within startups. So there are core things that are
So
going
there is
on.
one neobanking startup.
There's a
team.
neobanking startup which is very, very excited about doing something crazy for the customers.
ऐसे और क्या startup है?
बहुत सारे US stocks का एक चल रहा है, like we want to take it mainstream on the app. बहुत सारे secrets हैं.
We're not asking you for stock tips. We're just asking you what else are you working on?
See, the thing is also like, lot of these experiments will be successful and lot of them will fail. So it's very difficult for us to kind of talk about everything unless we see something very, very kind of, we have 100% surety that, we would launch. It's also like a lot of customers would also look at your look at our channel, and we want to give like very, very clear roadmap to them. This is what is coming.
You have ambitions in payments also, considering
so in a
Groww
different
Pay?
way, not like
Consumer
not like,
facing.
not like consumer, not like in the current form. It will be something in a very different way. Again, that's a lot of experiments going on there. Like how should we do that?
Right. In the current environment, everybody is also talking about how profitability is a huge focus, and we've seen some of your rivals who are hugely profitable, who make like thousands of crores in profit. What is your part to profitably go to? Because as I understand
We are
it,
profitable already.
not the parent entity, right? Because
Everything
there is
is
a
profitable.
next billion,
We
and
are
then there is
cash
a
flow
billion
positive.
brains garage.
We are cash flow positive for last 8 months.
As a group.
We don't burn money.
So.
Because as I understand, you're structured in such a way that you have a US entity, India entity. One of the entities is profitable, but one of them is
Everything,
loss-making.
every entity is
We
profitable.
talk about top level Groww entity, which is what should matter.
Got it. And are there entrepreneurs who you turn to in advice during difficult times, tough times? Who would they be?
So, lot of them. Yesterday I was talking to Satya.
Satya Nadella.
Yeah.
Which reminds me, how did he come to invest in Groww? Like all of a sudden, we saw Lalit's tweet that Satya has invested, and we were like, this came as a bolt from the blue. Like how did that happen?
Somebody introduced us, and then he liked our vision overall. For us, it's a great kind of he has built $2 trillion. There are only $2 trillion companies in the world, Apple and Microsoft.
He's been one of them.
And he's the CEO of that. So, like, if you want to learn scale, who is the best person?
Who's better than Satya Nadella?
Yeah. And Mukesh has been a great
Mukesh
supporter.
Bansal. He's also your angel investor.
First, Ankit Naguri and Mukesh Bansal. Binny is one of the investors. He has built Flipkart, and then other fellow entrepreneurs, like, lot of folks who have been through this journey. Even young folks, we talk to a lot of early stage folks because they kind of bring up insights, ideas that we can miss and so on. So ecosystem is kind of very mature now. You can talk to people for this specific thing, you should reach out to this person and so on. Yeah.
Right. Do you guys often get asked for stock tips or investing tips?
Used to, I mean, now. So personally, everywhere, social events or friends events, you'll go, they'll ask. But I think continuously we've been answering that we don't have any. And as a brand, I think if you go on the channels or all our users, they keep asking what mutual fund should I put in, what stock should I buy. But we've been restating that we don't have any tips and we would not encourage.
Right.
So Groww as a platform, Groww as a brand doesn't do it, and we personally also don't do.
Now people have stopped asking actually because they know that.
Okay, no stock tips, but to sign off, Lalit, if there is 3 investment mantras that you would like to share with our viewers, what
I
would
keep
be?
sharing it all the time, like every time, like
no, like
broken,
2-3
like
mantras.
they are very
which
boring
will
and like broken record, like.
No, 2-3 things that is like it'll hold good for say the next 5 years,
So
irrespective of bull, bear, whatever.
One thing is start early, right? You have luxury of making mistakes. Like start like 100. You can start with $100. When I started investing, I bought one stock for 80 rupees.
Which stock was this?
I cannot name that stock, but it was just 80 bucks. I used to get stipend in IIT, and that's how I bought my first stock. So just सिर्फ 80 रुपए में. The दूसरा है, so start early. Second is think long term. Like if you are investing in equity, so then think long term. Don't don't listen to stock tips. कोई ये दे रहा है, कोई वो दे रहा है. Don't do that. And lastly, keep learning. Like read a lot and learn. Like because investing is itself it's like a snowball effect. If you learn and invest together, that's like, and personally also you grow, because investing is not like just one subject. Ki physics पढ़ लिया मैंने, physics समझ में आ गया, ये पढ़ लिया. Investing is like mental model across subjects and everything. So as a person, I'm running Groww because I started investing early, and now I can, like, I don't have an MBA. Harsh knows a lot about business and everything, and I learn from him. But I can ask him questions about what are the right questions, what is ROC, why? Because I started investing long time back, right? So it helps. So learning. So summary: start early, think long term, and
keep learning.
Yeah.
Right. On that note, thank you both very much for talking to us on Biz to Billions. Those are great tips, and I hope our viewers partake of that as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.